everyone, this is Post Time Skip Sam, and welcome to my live discussion of Honkai Impact 3rd, Chapter 21. Wings of Awakening. Wings of Reawakening. I already messed up the intro. You know what? Doesn't matter. I'm going to be talking about Hua's journey, fighting against those who wronged her. Let me just play the video here. Fighting against those who wronged her throughout her life and believing that she herself is the real Hua. So, before we dive in, I know if you're already used to this, you've already seen these channel updates, but I gotta give you another update again. So here, we'll play the video, and then we'll get right into the actual discussion. You may be wondering to yourself, where is all the Genshin Impact and Honkai Impact content? Well, it's because I am moving my videos over from this secondary channel over to my main channel, Post Time Skip Sam. I put this in a much bigger detail in a YouTube community post, which I'll post down below, but the long story short is it's getting quite hectic to kind of maintain two separate channels with the same amount of output, you know? So I figured, you know what, because I'm doing a lot more Genshin and Honkai Impact content, why not have that become the main channel and move everything over to the main channel? So what do you expect from this? Right? Starting July 5th, I'll be moving all my Honkai Impact content over to that channel. I'm not going to re-upload anything just because I have so many Honkai Impact videos. However, I will be doing a Chapter 25 discussion on the week of July 25th. I'll be posting my 5.8 global reactions, as well as we will be playing through Chapter 30 live together. So that's going to be a ton of fun to do. Also, starting next week, my Genshin Impact reaction will be posted over on that channel. If you've already seen that video before, there's going to be some new content with Elysian, as well as the version 2.7 trailer, and including a lot of the missing story teasers and audio fixes that I missed during my first watch-throughs. So definitely check out those videos, hit that subscribe button on the channel. All the links are in the video description down below. And I hope to see you over there. And just as like a heads up, it's going to be a lot of fun. Okay, bye! I'm actually muted. Thank you so much, Elysian Empire. We're going to go through that again. Hey, Chapter 30 playthrough is going to happen there, so that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm very excited about that Chapter 30 playthrough. And also, you know, Chapter 25 is definitely a hype chapter, so that's going to happen over on the main channel. But yeah, for this discussion, for Chapter 21, for Chapter 21 discussion, I've gathered comments and questions about this chapter from myself, from the Discord, from YouTube, and lastly, those of you hanging out in the live chat right now. Obviously, there is a bit of a delay, but I do see that I did unmute myself, so hopefully y'all can hear me. If you want to learn more about how to submit questions for next week, stay till the end of the video, and I'm going to tell you more about how to do that. Anyways, let us start with the Chapter 21 discussion. I got our first question here. Popping up the first question, make sure it appears. Overall feelings of this chapter. The most common question I ask myself, how did I feel about this chapter overall? This is a trilogy of chapters about Hua and her journey, and specifically about Hua's journey. And I love this chapter. Not only do we get to finally, this is the second part of my thing, is literally we get the conclusion to that Chapter 19 teaser, where we just see Hua showing up everywhere, pretty much kicking everyone's ass. And that was absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. So I love this chapter. I love that we're getting to see a different side of, at the time of the beginning of this chapter where she is basically attacking everyone, we don't truly, like, it's like, wait, is this our Hua? But she acts nothing like her. So there was this sense of mystery that I actually really loved. So honestly, I truly, truly love this chapter. And of course, you know, next chapter is the conclusion of, you know, Senti, Hua's character. And I'm so excited to actually talk about that, because that's also where a lot of hype shit happens. So yeah, this chapter is a great build-up, a great setup for who Hua truly is as a character, which I really love. Let's move over to the next question, which is, any environments that stuck out to you? If I go through this video here, I think there's not many that stuck out to me, because I'm trying to look, because we basically just kind of go through a lot of older environments. So I'm going to say, like, I mean, obviously, actually, I'll skip this part, because this is just a bunch of lore that we don't necessarily need. But the environments are, I mean, they're great environments, but of course we've already seen them in various chapters, and it's also like pretty important why we're revisiting these former locations. So it is important to the lore, but nothing like stuck out to me of like, oh my god, look how amazing this environment is, because we basically seen it all. The next question I wrote for myself is, how do you feel about the progression system in this chapter? This chapter, if I'm not mistaken, had no progression system. If I'm not mistaken, this just had no progression system, which, I mean, I'll be honest, I actually love that a lot. I'm trying to see if I have a video of it. I don't think I have a video of the progression system. Oh yeah, kinda here. But yeah, there's not really any kind of progression here, right? You're just basically kind of very linear going through the entirety of this story. So I enjoyed it because I'm trying to catch up to the game. So the less I have to worry about doing the side content and getting, you know, blocked by things, I might end up removing the progression system, but I do know that future chapters are actually open world. So this question may be more useful in those future open world chapters. They teased us on the Kevin versus Hua fight. Let me see if I could pull it up. This one, dude, this one upset me. This one upset me because they know we all want to see Kevin actually fight. Where is it? It's early on. Okay, it's here. So they know we want to see a Kevin fight. And they were like, all right, Kevin versus Hua. And then they cut to, well, that was a great fight. You know, I really appreciate it. You know, we're like both really powerful. And I'm like, you have to be kidding me. You are teasing us with Kevin not fighting. Like, Kevin is, he may not be, but Kevin seems to be, at least so far, I mean, he was a protector of the previous era, right? So clearly, this man is extremely powerful, and we don't get a fight. So, but here's the thing. I'm not really upset. It's just, it's funny that they're teasing us, because the moment where he does actually start fighting, we know shit has hit the fan, and it's going to be insane. So I really appreciated that. Next one is, didn't quite understand the connection of the archives in this chapter. Now, there was an archive with Otto and his family lineage, and that plays a role in not only the very end of this chapter, but also in the future chapters. But it really just doesn't. It feels like they're very disjointed, right? Because we had the story about the two sisters, and then we had the story of Hua as like Watson, and it just like, it felt like none of it, I couldn't figure out how they connected to the main story at that moment. The Otto stuff, there is like semi connections, which we'll talk about that in a later question. But the other two, I couldn't quite figure out the connection to this current story about memories and about being yourself. So I couldn't quite figure those two out. So that's why I said, like, I'm a bit, confused, or didn't quite understand the connection. So we'll just move on to the next question, which is Hua claiming Callan is the source of all their sadness. And I think we have another question about this as well. This one is spectacular. Oh, you know what? Elysian brings a good point with that previous one. So the two sisters moment is thought to be Jackal. That would make some sort of sense, because if I'm not mistaken, yeah, that would kind of make a bit more sense, because is that right before? No, that's a bit after. Okay, that would kind of make a bit more sense about this one. Okay. I can see that just a bit, because yeah, this one was a bit, I was like, why, how does this, like, I guess, like, memories, but I don't know, I feel like that's just not enough information. So I can see if it's like if it could be related partly to Jackal. I might have to go back and reread through that section to truly determine it. But yes, thank you for pointing that out, Elysian. So yeah, back to the question about Hua claiming Callan is the source of all their sadness. This one is absolutely fascinating. I love this idea that Hua is almost like the darker side of Hua, of just like the regrets, the things I could have done better with my life. Like, Hua is the person who's like, I understand that we were, because we talk so much about how much of a character Hua is in terms of just the pain that she is carrying throughout her entire life. And Hua is just basically like, here's like what we could have done. We could have done this better, and we could have done this better, and we could have done this better. And I love the idea that like that Hua feels like Callan is the source of all this, because going through, I guess it's been in multiple mangas about the meeting between Callan and the Immortal, which is very cool. And also that then correlates to the Otto story that we got at the very, very beginning. So that one is also pretty great. Next question we have here is Hua, this is from Gabi Alex, is Hua evil or just a sassy lost child? This one's also another great question, because it really makes you think about, like, okay, Hua is technically like the antagonist to these couple chapters of story, but I don't think she is truly evil. It's very much, it's very much the character who's misguided, right? Where this character truly believes that she has been making mistakes throughout her life, and she's like, I want to make a difference. I want to change things. Like, literally, this chapter opens up with Hua attacking Otto, because she's like, you caused me so much pain, I'm going to destroy you. And then Otto only got out of that alive because he was like, well, actually, if you want to know who really caused you pain, check out that Kevin guy. He's over in North Africa. And then Fua's like, okay, let's go. And then she starts running over there. So I definitely feel that she is not evil. And I don't think she's maybe like a sassy lost child. She is definitely someone who is, what would I consider? I think she is misguided, because she is firmly in the belief that what she is doing is in the right. She is trying to make up for all the mistakes that she has done. And so that's kind of how I feel about her in that way. And yeah, as Gabi mentions here, she is technically only a few days old and has the memories of someone else. And I think that too is a thing where she believes that she is another person. And she is trying to, it's a thing where she has the memories of someone else, but she still has her own personality. So she's like, why did I let this Otto guy just run on top of me for years and years and years? Why didn't I just kill him? Well, I know where he is, so let me go kill him. So I don't think she's a sassy lost child, but I do believe that she is definitely not an evil person. She's just misguided for sure. Next question we have is thoughts on Kiana bound with Hua. So this one is a good question because there is a very interesting, I guess bound is like the best word to why am I at a loading screen? Let's just move over. Let's move her back here. So I think this one is a great question about Kiana being bound to Hua because Hua is able to communicate with Kiana on a very like ethereal level that none of the other characters have ever gotten to experience before in the story. So I think it's really cool. It definitely does get confusing a bit when it definitely gets confusing a bit because I'm wondering at what physical state is Hua in when she is communicating with Kiana, in this way of being bound to her. Because we see places where she is literally physical and where she's not a physical being. So that aspect kind of gets a bit confusing, but I don't have any issues with it. I don't find it to be weird. I think it's great that they have this connection, especially since, as we mentioned in the chapter 20 discussion, where it felt like Kiana and Hua start off with like Kiana making fun of Hua, and then eventually that friendship, that love started to blossom. So thank you for that question. Next question we have is also from Gabi Alex. What is your opinion on Otto after getting glimpses into his past from this chapter? So this one, I think this question is, I think nothing changes about Otto for me, because the very first manga, I think even before I started playing through all the chapters, was Elan Palatinus, where you got a very good glimpse of the good and bad sides of Otto, and the manga is super well encompassing of the Otto and Callan story. And so how I felt opinions about Otto after getting glimpses of his past, nothing really changed because I already knew that Otto is someone who is very, very misguided. You know, he is evil, but the reasons why he is evil, there are good intentions behind that, and that's why he is such a fantastic villain, is because you understand him. You understand the reasons he's going through all of this. So I say my opinion didn't change just because I did read Elan Palatinus and was able to get a grasp of the different sides of Otto that weren't just him just being very evil and very just annoying in the actual game story. Next question I have is also from Gabi Alex, is do you think that Hua ever trusted Otto, or she was aware that she became his tool out of necessity? I think this is a kind of both a yes and no question for it. Or sorry, like I think it's like both of them, right? I think she's trusted Otto because she considers Otto to be a friend. Otto constantly says to Hua that you are my friend. And if we know anything about Hua's character, it is that the thing that she needs in her life is a friend, right? And Otto is that friend. So I think there is this very like abusive friendship relationship going on, where like Hua is like I know sometimes you're exploiting me. I know sometimes you're being terrible, but also I don't want to be lonely anymore. So I'll continue going with you because I truly believe that there is some good in you, Otto. So that's kind of where it's kind of a yes, like both sides, because I do think that she trusts Otto, but I do believe that she also knows that like some of the things that he's asking her to do is a bit shitty. It's a bit bad, but she's like, you know what? We're both friends. We've been friends for a very long time. I'm going to still continue on doing what you want to do. So that's how I feel about that question, is that it's kind of both of them. Next question we have is Jackal, Dr. Cleo. got some screen time, and this is from Gabi Alex as well. Jackal, Dr. Cleo got some screen time in this chapter. Any thoughts on her? And will you like to see her again in the future? Absolutely. Absolutely. Look at, hold on, where is it? Where is she? Where is she? This beauty, I need to see her more. I would love to see Jackal more. She is so goddamn beautiful. I want to see more Jackal. I want to learn more about Jackal. Now, what I hope is that we get to see a physical manifestation of Jackal. Right now, she has just been very much like speaking to you over a computer throughout this story so far. We really haven't gotten to see her physically, right? She's either behind a computer or talking to you. We'll get some screen caps of her as well, but I would say that I want to see more of her. I want to see more of her character. I hope that she is more interesting, because right now she doesn't seem like she doesn't seem like she's very much an important character. But I just love her design. Honestly, I love her design. But yeah, thank you for that question. Next question we have is also from Gabi Alex, and don't worry, it's not it's not all Gabi Alex. But I'm going through chronological order, and so I really appreciate that Gabi Alex gave me a bunch of questions to help fill this discussion. So thank you so much. I appreciate it. So one of the questions is imagination exercise. What if Callan flew to China instead of Japan and met Hua again instead of Sakura? Will her relationship with Kiana and Teresa be different? Oh, when I read this question for the first time, don't worry about asking too many questions. I love when you guys ask so many questions, because it gives me a lot of things to talk about, and things also I didn't really think about. So I appreciate all the questions. But will her relationship with Kiana and Teresa be different? I didn't actually, because when I read the question for the first time, I didn't see that last part about how that affects Kiana and Teresa. What if it met Hua again instead of Sakura. Will her relationship with Kiana and Teresa be different? That's a tough question, because I'm curious how that, well, you know what, Hua would be, I think Callan would be persistent enough with Hua to continue trying to hey, we met several hundred years ago, right? So I think okay, yeah, you know what, that is actually an interesting point. Because originally it was well, Fua's not going to remember Callan, so it's just I don't think it would matter too much, but I think Callan is someone who'd be persistent enough to where Hua will be okay, so we did meet, I don't know how much, I don't know if that would actually really affect Kiana and Teresa's relationship. Oh, you know what? Because she would know about the experimentations with Otto. Interesting. I don't know if that, oh yeah, that's an interesting question. Yeah, that would be an interesting question. I think that she would be more on edge with Kiana, or at least she might be more aggressive, right? Because if she, in this imagination exercise, right, if Callan spoke with Hua, then she kind of understands what Otto's goal is a bit more, because she has met the real person. She has met the real person. So that's interesting to know. Elysian mentions, well, when Callan met Sakura, here, let me highlight this here. Well, when Callan met Sakura, Hua would be in her 20-year coma. Hua awakened years after Callan's death. I see. I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter, because this is just an imagination exercise. So in the event that they could have met, I think that she would be a bit more emotionless with Kiana, in terms of, because she has met the real Callan, because she already knows what Otto wants to do with Teresa and with what she was trying to do with Kiana, I think that Hua would be like, okay, Kiana's failed, so I don't care about her. So I think she would side more with Otto on that. So let us move over to the next question. Thoughts on Hua being a friend of Conan Doyle and inspiration for Watson in the past? This one, I mean, much like the question I had about the archives, this one just felt weird. I was like, it's cool that we get some weird alternative history, but I was like, I don't know how this relates to any of the stories. So I just thought, I was like, oh, this is like a cool side thing. And it makes sense for the outfit that you get in Honkai. But yeah, I was just like, I'm unsure why they posted that there. So unsure. Next question we have is from Otto W. Hua Sims Unite. It's not a question. Sorry, I've always felt bad for the Hersher of Sentience. All she really wanted was to be accepted. Hopefully she will learn that it's okay to be accepted for who she is and rather than who she thinks she should be. Hua, the hottest thing ever, it's canon. I absolutely agree. And I will say that the very interesting thing that we'll be learning with the future chapters is understanding your own self. So there's going to be more about this discussion specifically, but thank you so much, Otto, for that comment. Yeah, honestly, I 100% agree. I do hope that the Hersher Sentience accepts herself for who she is. Next question we have is Senti, best girl, that is all from I Am a Meme. Thank you so much. Senti is amazing. I love her so much. And we also get to see more of her next chapter, so I'm very, very happy to actually discuss that chapter. From Elysian Empire. How do you like Senti, the community name for Hua? Hua's unofficial ninth adopted child. I love this character because what is so great about this character, and I will speak a lot more on this in chapter 23, where we're diving deeper into memories and how memories, basically, do memories truly make you the person you are? And so we're going to talk a lot about memories in the, chapter 2020 or chapter 22 discussion. But just as like for now with how I like Senti, I love her. She is amazing. I think what I really like about her is that she is basically like taking charge of the situation. When she sees that there's an issue, she deals with it, right? She's not hesitating. She's not like, I don't know if I should do that. She's like, I'm just gonna do it. She's like, Otto screwed me over. I'm just gonna kill Otto, right? She's like, Kevin screwed me over. I'm just gonna fight Kevin. She's like, she does not care. So that's kind of what I really, really love about her. So that is amazing. And then as Gabi points out here, the Senti nickname is from the Honkaimon events. That is very cool. And so that's where the name Senti came from. Thank you so much. And then also another question from Elysian Empire. What are your thoughts on Senti's opinion on Hua's previous choices and relationships, namely Dr. May? And in chapter 22, they also go into this a bit more. And here, let me skip to the part where we're actually going through some of the parts where she's trying to change the past. I love this because I think this is such a great, it's such a great thing because this is someone else's opinions on like, you could have done this better. Like you're going like, because Hua, despite not thinking that she is being very kind-hearted, she is like, she literally thinks that Hua's memories are her own, which technically they are hers to extent, but like I said, we're going to discuss more of that on chapter 22. But because that she has these memories of people who have wronged her, she's like, we could have fixed this years ago. We could have had friends. We could have not been exploited by Otto, by Kev. Like, there are all these things that she is thinking of that they could have done better. And I mean, to the point that I said at the beginning of the thing is that she was like, killing Callan would have been none of this would have happened. None of this pain, none of this torment would have happened. And so I love that about this character, because she is taking these memories that she believes are her own, and she's like basically another perspective on a solution, right? And I think that that's kind of what friends do, right? If you go up to a friend and you tell them, hey, this is what I want to do for this situation, they might bring up a different point, a different perspective on how to resolve that issue. And for Hua, the people who did that, because she is immortal, would die. Little Book is the Senti, so I feel like there are people in Hua's life that have, given her the other opinion of, you should do this instead. So the fact that Senti is like, these are my own memories, I'm just gonna do what I want and take over. So that's kind of how I feel about it. I think it's just basically a different perspective on a question, or basically on an opinion, So that's what, and I mean, it goes back to, your other point about like, how do you like Senti? And I think it is because she offers this other perspective on trying to resolve the issues that are in Hua's life. And honestly, I bet some of you also, when reading through chapter 21, we're feeling the same thing, right? Of like, what, like, when we notice, going through the entirety of the game chapters of the manga, we're like, Hua, why don't you just kill Otto right then and there, right? We have these questions asking the characters in this story, like, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? And Senti was like, okay, I'll do it. So that's why I love Senti. Next question is also from Elysian Empire. Hua uses the 0th power of FD, which is Fang Wan down, which destroyed FD, which separated her soul from her body, so she is bound to host. She can choose in order to maintain her existence. Okay, so this was back to the question about Kiana being bound. And so Elysian dropping the knowledge, dropping the lore about basically how she is able to not only maintain her physical form, but also, speak to Kiana in such a way. I understand that now. Okay, cool. Well, thank you so much for that question, or that comment. I appreciate it. Next question we have is, we all know, from Elysian Empire, we know that Hua worked with Otto is to protect Shenzhou after she is weakened after her disciples assassinated her, and Otto calls almost everyone friend. So I do agree that Otto almost calls everyone friend, but I think for someone who doesn't have any friends, that word matters a lot more. Like if Otto was like, what up friends, to Kiana will be like, well, I got May, and I understand that you're really just like a weird dude, right? You're not cool. But for Hua, who has struggled to have friends, who all of their friends died, who has met someone who is also, from what we know so far, is immortal, that word friend means a lot more to Hua than, Otto saying it to anyone else. So that's why I feel that like the word friend, calling Hua specifically friend, and also old friend, definitely implies that like, I'm the friend that has lasted the longest in your life. I'm the friend that has always been there for you. I'm the friend that always has your back. I think the word friend between Otto and Hua is a lot more important than Otto saying it to anyone else. Because no one else struggles with having friends and struggles with loneliness as much as Hua does. I think something similar could happen if Otto were to speak with May and ask before she met Kiana. But yeah, that's why I feel like the importance of that word friend for Otto specifically is very important in terms of Hua. And then also, as Gabi mentions, back to the moment of when they brought up Watson. Part of Hua being Watson was presented in a small event that was right before the Rosemary Remembrance. Okay, so there was a bigger event that dealt with Hua Hua as a character. So awesome. That is actually good to know too. So it is actually an event. Great. And then I know another comment from Gabi Alex is, Jackal is one of the prettiest of the bad girls. Absolutely. Abso-freaking-lutely. I love Jackal so much. I do hope that we get to see her more. Pulling out some other comments in the chat. Welcome Hersher, welcome Snurgles, welcome Gabi, welcome Wise, welcome Elysian, welcome Kart. Thank you all so much for hanging out in the chat room, just checking out, seeing what else we have here. Another mention about the Honkai-mon when we're talking about Senti's nickname. I believe the Honkai-mon event came after the community named Hersher of Sentience as Senti. I've seen Hersher of Sentience been called Senti as soon as a few weeks after chapter 22. And then also on top of that, was after the event from Gabi, was after the event, I've seen everyone calling her Senti, but during the chapter 22, I wasn't very active in the Honkai communities. Okay, so it looks like we're having like this, it seems that at least some point between 21 and 22 during an event, we started, we started calling Hua Senti. And the last question we have here from Gabi Alex, by the way, are there any ugly women in Honkai? Absolutely not. They are all freaking beautiful. Actually, to be fair, no one is ugly in this universe. It is insane how pretty everyone is. You look at Otto, you look at Hua, you look at Jackal, you look at anyone. Anyone is so freaking beautiful. Thank you all so much for taking the time to watch this video. Oh, there are more questions in the Discord. Let me pull up the Discord here. These are good questions too. Okay, thank you so much, Kart, for pointing that out. Let me pop these over here. So let me pop these over here. So this question is actually from Elysian Empire. It says, do you see Senti as Hua's kid or little sister? I see that I see Senti as a little sister, because they are, I mean, for obvious reasons, they are very much alike, and you know, much like siblings often share a lot of the same memories. So I do see Senti as being more of a little sister than being a kid, despite obviously having the same exact memories as Hua. Siblings often share a lot of the same memories, so that's why I feel that she definitely aligns a lot more to a little sister than a kid. And then there is one more question in the Discord from Elysian Empire, which I'll post right now. Let me just post that here, and then I click on this. Okay, so this question is also from Elysian Empire. How do you think the 7 disciples would react if the Hersher of Sentience situation happened? Hua expelled from her body using the zeroth power, possibly during the assassination, and Senti being born from her body. That's a tough question, because I don't know if they would be able to react, because I think that if this were to happen and Senti was aware of the assassination, I think, or maybe not aware of the assassination, but the disciples were alive during the time of the assassination, I think the disciples would have all been dead. I think that Senti would have killed them all. Of like, how dare you betray me, your teacher? I'm going to kill you. Because we had this debate, in chapter 20, where it was like, what the students did for me was understandable, given that they felt that Hua was emotionless. But also, like, if you had someone who wasn't Hua, who was like very vengeful, someone who was very much like, I'm going to pay you back, they would have all been dead. So I think Senti would have definitely killed them. So I don't think they would have reacted, because they would have been dead. That's basically the end. So thank you, Elysian, for that question. And then Gabi has another question. How do you compare Senti Hua to Sele Villona? Well, that's something we'll get to learn in chapter 23. We're not going to say much, but yes, there are a lot of similarities to this question. I'm actually going to keep this question also for chapter 23 because we're going to talk a lot about, I have a lot of notes about chapter 23 about the Senti, about this Sele relationship, So very excited about that. But yeah, thank you all so much for all the questions you have asked. I really appreciate it. I'm super excited for next chapter because that is the conclusion of the Senti saga, at least the trilogy of chapters that we've gotten so far. And so I'm very, very excited oh, wait, we have another question. I'm going to keep answering questions. So I don't mind answering more questions. How do you feel about the disciples would interact with, how do you think disciples would interact with Senti? I think they would be afraid of her. Because I don't think Senti will give them the time of day that Hua has given them, especially if Senti knows about the assassination. I think the disciples will be terrified of her. The smile, the look, they'll be like you're not exactly Hua, but I don't know who you are. So actually, they might even attack her if Senti is going to be that threatening to them. And then we have from Sezer, a little bit off topic, but which divine key do you think is the best one? So far we have gone through quite a few divine keys. I mean, look, the cheap answer is just going to go with the Void Archives. That's just the cheap answer. So we're going to remove Void Archives from ever. We're not going to even think that Void Archives exists. I'm going to kind of change up your question a bit. I'm not going to say best one, because best one, I feel like is going to get very, very much like, people are going to be a bit more competitive of like, well, this one's a bit stronger, this one's this. I'm going to just say, which one's my favorite? I think my favorite is Judgment of Shamash. It's just, I don't know. I'm going to say Judgment of Shamash. I just think that after reading through Second Eruption, I cannot help but love. I cannot help but love the Judgment of Shamash. The fact that you get dual wielding pistols and then this gigantic great sword. It's so cool. I love it. I freaking love it. And I mean, obviously there are so many other amazing divine keys. You got the Abyssal Flower, which is cool because it has healing properties. But I feel like, the Judgment of Shamash it's just badass because of it. And then how do you like Senti's design? So I'm also going to, I'll just pause right here because we have a wonderful Senti here. So I'm also going to save Elysian your question for next week as well. So, because I mean, she has the second form. So for the form that we see right before us, I love it because it is meant to be this slightly like, it's meant to be this like slightly reminiscent of Hua. It's more like a double take, right? When you see it for the first time, you're like, you look like someone I know. So I like it. Now, obviously, the colors are all dark, so obviously it's like, oh, that's the evil, quote unquote, evil version of Hua. There's something wrong with her. But I love the design. I love the fur. It's very, very beautiful. But yes, I'm also going to save this question for next week as well, because we do get to see a different outfit with Senti as well. Okay, I think that's all the questions. I think we're finally going to end the stream here. Any other questions? I'll go ahead and move that over to chapter 23. But hey, thank you all for hanging out and taking the time to watch my chapter discussions. It's been a ton of fun. Thank you so much, Katanow, for the comment. I really appreciate it. Yeah, it's a beautiful skin. This is a beautiful skin. The Senti form for chapter 22 is so good. I'm very excited to actually react to that chapter for all of you. So thank you all so much for taking time to watch this live chapter 21 discussion. If you want to submit comments for chapter 22, post them in the YouTube comments below with this video, or send it on the Discord, or wait for the community post that will get posted on Sunday at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, asking for submissions. And just as a reminder, July 5th is the official date. I'm moving everything over to the main channel. So links are in the live chat, and links are available in the description. And just as a reminder, oh, I already said the reminder part. If you need, I should post it, you know, if I'm talking about it, I should probably, you know, post the thing I'm talking about. So, hey, here's the link to the main channel. That's the link to the main channel. You're gonna get delays, so you're not gonna see the more stuff. But yeah, July 5th is gonna be a lot of fun because that week we're doing chapter 25 discussion, which that chapter is insane. That is also the like estimated date. That's around the estimated date of patch 5.8 for global release. So we're also gonna be playing through chapter 30 live on stream. So that's gonna be a lot of fun. So yeah, definitely check out that channel. Genshin Impact videos will also go up on that channel next week as well. I think that's all. Thank you all so much for taking time to watch this video. And then also I'll answer a few more questions while we're at it. You know, I did my ending, so you know what? Let's answer a few more questions. These won't be time coded, but you know, hey, we'll just check them out. So first one is, hey, from Katanow, hey man, I watched your reaction to the Honkai cutscenes. I'm really glad you liked it so much. You're actually playing the game and got so invested. Can't wait for you to get to the latest chapters. I am too. Here's the thing, right? Is that when I was doing League of Legends reactions, and then someone in my channel was like, hey, you should react to the final lesson cutscene. And here I am just like, how is this a mobile game? How is this a mobile game? And then of course, I just absolutely fell in love with this game. I am very, very excited. So yeah, I just fell in love with the game. So I love that I'm going through this. You know, honestly, it's made me a huge Hoyoverse fan. ZZZ, more trailer stuff is going to get announced tomorrow. I'm very excited. That's going to go on the main channel. Star Rail, Honkai Impact, Genshin. Hoyoverse is so incredible at what they do. It is amazing. And then we were talking about the Senti skin. So Javier mentions that I don't regret getting that skin. LOL. I would not regret getting that skin as well. Are we going to react? So Elysian mentions, are we going to react to the animatic? I'm unsure which animatic you mean. So if you post the animatic, yeah, I could react to it, unless it's like spoilers for like chapter 22 or 23. Let's continue on. Oh yeah, that's the link to the main channel. So yeah, next week for the main channel, Genshin stuff's gonna come out. Tomorrow, I'm gonna do reactions to the ZZZ stuff, as well as some other video game stuff, so it's not gonna be directly Hoyoverse, but there's gonna be a new ZZZ trailer, so I'm definitely reacting to that. And then, as Kart mentions, are you gonna react to the Serval trailer? Our Serval? I guess it's Serval trailer? I have not seen the Serval trailer. So what I'm planning to do with Star Rail stuff is I may just wait, just because I know that we're gonna do, for the next 3 weeks, 4 weeks, there's gonna be at least 2 Genshin reactions on that channel. And then when July hits, there's gonna be a once a week reactions to the chapters, and then the 5.8 reactions on that channel, and then also a chapter 30 live stream. So I'm gonna save this trailer for when we get a bit of bulkiness for, when we get a bit more bulkiness for the, when we get more Star Rail stuff, I'll definitely react to those, for sure. I challenge you to do an entire video analyzing a Senti's outfit. So I do have a reaction to all the battle outfits on my channel that I basically kind of go through it. I would say I might revisit it once I have caught up to all the chapters and I go back through it now that I understand all the lore that is attached to all these. So we're going to put a pin on that. We're going to put a pin on that for sure. Discussions of the ER chapters. This one is a, I don't want to say it's a maybe. No, it is a maybe. It's a maybe. The reason why I say it's a maybe is because there is so much freaking lore in ER that it is overwhelming for me. It is overwhelming for me. So I might do a video where I talk about ER in general and not specifics, because there's just so much to cover, so much to go by, that there is just so much. I honestly, I feel that there is too much in ER for lore-wise, so I might make a discussion video about my general thoughts on ER, but I'm not going to go very specific like I do with these videos, just because there is just too much lore in ER for me to like read, comprehend, and then write about. We might take, okay, so what I love, I haven't seen the videos he does with ER, but what Island XD does with his streams is that when he was going through the Elysian realm, he would dedicate a stream to each of the characters. Maybe I might do like a discussion style video that we do with these for each of the characters in Elysian realm. That might be a better way to break up, ER. So maybe I might do that instead. Actually, I'm gonna write that down. So we might break it up by characters. I think that will be a bit more of a easier way for my brain to like just understand and to truly like make a video about it. So yeah, we might break it up into characters. So I guess we are doing that video now. Yep, they never let me go. Absolutely. And welcome Crystal to the chat. Thank you so much. With the smile, so I appreciate it. Thank you. And Elysian react to the chapter 22 animatic with the new context you have. Oh, let me see if I can pull that up. Okay, chapter 22. Well, if I type in chapter 22 into YouTube, obviously it's not going to show me anything I want. So let's also put in Honkai Impact. Which animatic is it? I might have to go back and look through them. So we might have to go back. We might have to look at that later. But if you have a link, you can post that in the Discord, Elysian, so that I can react to it for next week. But thank you for bringing that up, because I'll go ahead and look that up as well. And then also a comment from Katanow. I feel in love with Honkai so much too. I literally got like 8 of my friends to play it just because I want everyone I know to enjoy this amazing story. That is awesome. Yeah, that's the thing, right? Honkai Impact is not like, it's not only a good game, but it's just a good anime. It's a good story. It's good music. There's nothing bad about it. Okay, you know what? There's actually one major flaw about Honkai Impact, and is that we still don't have a playable Welt. I mean, look, we get it with Star Rail, but man, I just want to play as Welt at least once. Or Kevin, please. Okay. And then yes, my reaction to the Rita swimsuit, absolutely. Still peak. Okay. And then Katanow also mentions that the Shatter Samasara is the chapter 22 animatic, I believe. Oh yes, we will get a reaction to that. Yeah, okay, I do know what you mean. Okay, that's like at the very end of chapter 22. Okay, cool. Awesome. And then before we go, Gabi mentions, I was surprised to learn that one of my friends was playing Honkai for about 2 months before me. That's cool. Like, just knowing like, oh, you play the same game too? That's amazing. All right, well, hey. Oh, and Javier mentions, even May is having trouble in the ER. And that's how we're going to end this stream. Thank you all so much for hanging out, chilling. I think we might do this stuff more, where I will have the actual discussion video that we go through, and then we can kind of just chill for 10 minutes, cool off, because let me tell you, chapter 22, chapter 23, I will need to cool off after those chapters. So we're definitely going to have a chill out moment for 10 minutes or so after the video has ended. So thank you once again for hanging out, joining the stream. It's been a lot of fun discussing all these, chapters with you. Look, I'll be honest, I am so excited to see more of chapter 22. Man, I cannot wait. Like, I was about to say this was a chapter 21 and 22 discussion, but I actually have a lot of notes about chapter 22 that I was like, I can't fit this all into chapter 21. So anyways, I'm just talking now. You all should go have fun, hang out, play some more Honkai Impact. I'm going to need to take extensive notes because, little secret, I am right now on chapter 28 of Honkai Impact, and there's a lot of reading to do and a lot of note taking. So I'm going to go back to doing that. Thank you all so much for taking time to watch this video, and until next time, I will see you later. Bye. Oh, and I got the same ending.